Hello, everyone. Today we have the pleasure to welcome Ronny. He works as research consultant for data and software at the Helmholtz Center for environmental research. He's a project manager at the development team project Find Out Software, which aim at establishing an infrastructure for research software discovery. So Ronny will provide us with a brief overview of the Find Out Software project before diving into analysis of the different discovery pathway that they figured out into this project. And then after we will discuss the systematization of this pathway for other infrastructure as a foundational work. So please, Ronnie, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks, Maxence. I hope everybody can hear me. And yeah, thanks for having me at Psycode. And yeah, there's not that much more to say about my person. I'm yeah, a research software and research data consultant, and I'm working for the project manager in the Find Software project, which I will shortly present now. And afterwards, I will dive into something that we do as a preliminary analysis to our project. It's an analysis of software discovery pathways. And what that is, I will explain that later. So just so now. So Find Software, its foundations for interdisciplinary discovery of research software. I will keep it quite brief though. So Fitz Karlsruhe, TIP, Hanover, and you've said Helmholtz. We are three project partners. And these are the beautiful people behind that project. And you will also find Maxence there. And in case you want to have the presentation, I think Maxence put it in the Google Sheets, and also you could scan the QR code for that. Right. So what is Find Software? So with Find Software, we are in the realm of research software discovery, and we want to create a catalog for research software, let's say for the metadata. And technology-wise, our project is based on Wikidata technology. So we're going to use Wikibase and Scholia as a front end and all the wiki tooling around it. And we try to be community-based from the very start. So to give the power of ownership to the community ready in the beginning. And the project is funded by the DFG, or by the program Research Software Infrastructures. So this is a brief, like architectural overview of the whole idea behind it. We started in March this year, so there's I cannot present you a prototype or something for that. So you will find the different data sources on the bottom of this image. In the middle, you will find the technology. As I mentioned, we are like based on Wikidata and Wikibase and Scholia and all those tooling around it. And community-wise, we're aiming at both the Wikidata and also the science community. And like for my presentation today, I will not stress find software further. I will go and dive into something that we do as a preliminary study. And so we try to study software discovery pathways because like when we talk about research software discovery, um, um, yeah, we would our goal was to kind of frame the whole landscape of it. So to get an idea who our users are and to visualize the complexity in this whole research software discovery process. So what we did is that analyzed personas. We came up with scenarios which trigger a research software discovery, and and then we analyzed where this discovery actually happens, and this is something that we name discovery pathway. Um, so personas, persona. I mean, you probably know what a persona is, and so here's our personas that we came up. We based them on the personas that we found in the from the NFDI, the German National Research Data Infrastructure program. So we have a PhD student, a postdoc, and RSC, then a pure developer, and a librarian. That's the five personas that we came up with. Um, And then we came up with a scenario. So a scenario is yeah, something that we defined as a generalizable situation that triggers the need for research software discovery. And here are the scenarios that we have. So we have solve tasks, compare software, develop software, and so on and so on and so on. I will not emphasize this more. And here you can see that we matched it to the different personas. Mm. And now I want to present you the software discovery pathways that we came up in our analysis. And so a discovery pathway is an environment where an active discovery happens. So this is also our own definition. Um, we came up with that because we want to have more, more actually, yeah, more pathways actually. That's more than a discovery systems. It's a bit broader the topic. So we are more in this information behavior sphere. And so before we actually started to analyze the different options, we reverted it- yeah, to literature, and we made some analysis on how software search is mentioned in literature. And yeah, there we came up with this paper from 2016 from I think Mike Hooker is even part of this group, when if I'm right informed. And so here they say that web searches and the opinions of colleagues and the literature are still the most commonly used options to discover research software. And I'm pretty sure that the situation has changed in 2016. And so we based our analysis also on a second, or we found a second paper that was quite relevant to us, Alexander Strock, who's also, I think, part of this group here. And here he concluded that yeah, so that the given tools, the given software that you need to solve for a particular problem, they may be scattered over many locations. And I know that here in this group there are representatives of these different locations. And then we also thought that it's a good idea to include Alexander in this group of analysts because like we set up our analysis on his paper here, his 2018 paper. Um, so this is an overview of the software discovery pathways that we came up with. And I will go into detail for any discovery pathway here. And so just to mention that in every discovery pathway, um, there is metadata then that you can access. And for some of these discovery pathways, there is also the possibility to get the code directly and to get or to get the application. So now we dive into the examples. So code repositories, I mean, not that much to say here. It's quite obvious, GitHub, GitLab, and so on and so on. Mixed content publication platforms, which is like examples of Zenodo, Dryad, Fixture, and so on and so on and so on. And we try to avoid to use the name mixed content publication repository because, like, when it comes to software, the term repository is quite, like ambiguous, let's say. So we try to avoid that here. Yeah, software repositories. Here we do have two subcategories. We have this programming language centered software repositories, which are like, yeah, almost all the programming languages, they come up with a specific repo where you could get yeah, software from that programming language. So it's, for instance, CRAN for R and PyPy and so on and so on. Then we have the operating system centered software repositories. So here we have all those different Linux distributions that come up with a package repos or package managers. We have in the mobile world, we have those things called app stores, and on Mac OS we have Homebrew, and I'm pretty sure that for other operating systems there might be other solutions as well. For Windows, I actually don't know. I think there is no such solution. I haven't been using Windows for quite a while now. So yeah, software archives archives, quite an obvious pathway. And here we have software heritage. You might have heard about that, looking to more on. Yeah, so nothing to add here. Yeah, then we come up with the catalogs. So catalogs, there are four different sub categories for catalogs, and the first one is the domain-specific catalogs. So domain-specific in the scientific sense. So we have, for instance, software math, we have bio tools, we have physics tools, and I mean, we could continue this list here, and yeah, pretty obvious domain-specific catalogs. Then we do have institutional catalogs. So there is, for instance, the eScience Center, which has the research software directory. And we at Helmholtz, we have also a research software directory. So here, the institutions, they would collect software that is, programmed, produced within this institution. Then we have catalogs that are national or supranational. So in Germany, we do have the NFDI.software, which is meant to be a national catalog of research software. I'm pretty sure that the EOSC will come up, has been coming up, or is actually developing something. Um, um, so there might be a supranational catalog for research software. And then we do have bibliographic catalogs. So the bibliographic catalogs, they are quite, yeah, popular and quite obvious. We have OpenAlex, Web of Science, Scopus. They are well known in the scientific domain, and within you could also search for software. Then next one is a curated list. So curated lists here, we thought about all those things that are listed in the GitHub Awesome lists mainly. And I mean, depending on the scenario, this is a good start to get an overview of some, about a specific concept. There are lists about almost everything: programming languages, frameworks, and scientific domains. You would find awesome lists, and they would give you a good kickstart into the topic, and they would also mention the software. Then obviously, when you're talking about discovery or searching, you have to mention the search engines. And here we have the general purpose search engines. So we have three categories. First is general purpose search engine, quite obviously Google, Bing, and so on and so on and so on. We have the specialized search engines. These are, for instance, the Bielefeld academic search engine that would index open access material. And they would also index software, so you can search for software within Bayes. And then you have a third category, which is the federated search engines. And here we have, for instance, Betty's research engine. I'm not aware of any other science-related federated search engine. But Betty's research engine is where you could explicitly search for research software over different databases. That's why it's federated. Yeah, then maybe a not so common and not so obvious pathway, and probably not that often used for a direct search or a directed search for software are software journals. But in theory, you could search for the software in such software journals. So, for instance, JOS is a very popular one. Yeah, knowledge graphs, another category of pathways. Again, quite obvious. You have Wikidata, you have SAMRepo, and you have all those different scientific related knowledge graphs that are popping up here and there. And obviously, you can search for software within these knowledge graphs. Then another category, social networks. And here we didn't came up with a nice subcategory name, so we named it like, yeah, as it is, blob. Yeah, maybe not the best one, but as a working title, it served well. So here we have department colleagues and we have classmates and so on. And you could ask them whether they know about a particular software and if they have some recommendations. Same goes for digital social networks like Mastodon, Blue Sky, and ResearchGate. for instance, I'm quite active on Mastodon, and I've seen many inquiries already that would mention, a specific use case, and they would ask their followers whether they know something that, some software that they could actually um, recommend. And 2026, so no presentation is possible without mentioning large language models as such. So, and of course, you could ask a large language model or a system that is built around large language models um, whether to recommend or where to find specific software. And with large language models, these pathway analysis also gets a bit blurred because they are like baked in more and more of the aforementioned categories. So they come along with the these categories. Mm, yeah, so this is the like systematization of software discovery pathways that we came up, and just to give you an idea, what we are going, what are we doing right now with these pathways is we try to analyze them and to prioritize them in order to use them or the data and like functionality for our find.software project. So these are the criteria that we have chosen so far, and it's a draft. Yeah, so we have content related categories or criteria. We have search, organization, technology, and item evaluation based criteria. And yeah, so I yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure whether I mentioned this already. So this analysis is still in progress. Basically, we should be finished with our analysis of software discovery pathways somewhere in June. So, and then the next step would be that we would use the results for our find.software project and also to write a paper on that, which is also already in a draft status. So, what's the how to say what's the takeaways out of this from this analysis of different software discovery pathways? So basically there are a lot of options as I've shown, and these options they make it difficult to choose. So it's always a question of context and scenario where you would actually start with your discovery process in a way. So yeah. So here maybe to talk a bit about the process that we've chosen. So we have a pen and paper based process. We have 5 persons with different backgrounds, and we have all more or less connections to the RSE um, environment or domain. And we did not do any deep or systematic literature analysis because, like, for many of the categories, we probably wouldn't find like this traces in the scientific literature. That was at least our opinion. So we didn't opt in for that or for doing a systematic literature analysis. So as mentioned, the personas they are inspired by the by NFDI personas. And and then the discovery pathways that we came up in, like the concrete pathways, they were mostly inspired by our intense experience and about this discussions that we had in our group. And and the scenarios that I shortly presented, they kind of how to say, they just popped up. So we thought that it would be really nice to categorize these scenarios to have an idea when which pathway makes sense to go along when it makes sense to choose which pathway. Hmm. Right. So now the presentation comes to an end. So what's in for others, and especially for this group here for psychodes. So what we did, what we're still doing, what we almost did, is a systematization of a very heterogeneous landscape. That's so For instance, when it comes to naming conventions, we had to realize that it's really diverse, and just imagine, like, the what I mentioned in the term repository. It's just so riddled with misunderstandings. So there is like some people would maybe call GitLab or GitHub itself a software repository, and then but we would call that like the single project. We would call that a software repository, and then there are data repositories, and like these kind of naming conventions that came out of our system, come out of our systematization. That it's quite useful, we think. Then we identified, or we're still identifying, a lot of pathways actually. So that means registries, repositories, and catalogs. And I could imagine that this would be helpful for for psychodes in the end when we have a list of a complete list of these options. Yeah, then yeah, quite obvious. I mean, we want to raise awareness about the complexity of discovery process itself. And because software discovery, as mentioned earlier, is highly context dependent. And yeah, and then maybe as one of of my last points, we also had some exchange with re3data. And re3data, it's a registry for data repositories, and we were discussing yeah, an idea to establish a registry of software registries. So yeah, so for instance, we could imagine that we um, systematize our the pathways that we analyzed, that we assess it within re3data, so that re3data already started to assess software, and so that we you know put our data into re3data and to enhance this as a research software uh, registry, or a registry of software registries. And well, okay. And with that, I'm at the end of my presentation here. You will find some useful links here, link to our website, link to Codeberg and our GitHub repos, which, I mean, there's not much to see yet. We also have a Mastodon account, and yeah, we presented a poster this year at the DRC in Stuttgart, and you can find it also here. And with that, I would like to thank you for listening, and I'm happy to take your questions.
Thank you so much, Ronny. It was very insightful. I really like the idea of a kind of conceptual vision of all the to try to collect and identify the various discovery pathway. I mean, as you know, we are working on very close topic, you and I. I'm also working on the topic of research software discovery on a more on an infrastructure view, and I really on the feature we can have in infrastructure, and I really find this very insightful. So yeah, it was very interesting. So first, is there any question in the room who wants to raise the hand? Alice, you have a question, please.
I do. A question and a comment, as they say. ASCL is a registry of software used in refereed research in astronomy, and we've been listed with R3 data for like well over a decade. So they know we do just software. So as Pete pointed out, the border between data and software repositories can be somewhat porous. How you classify data, a lot of people and a lot of organizations, especially funding organizations, like to state and have stated, which this drives me crazy, uh, they classify data as software. I mean, they classify
Yeah,
software as data. Sorry, and
right.
as a programmer, yeah, as somebody who did development work, um, uh, to me, software is software and data are data. They're not the same, but
Exactly.
a lot of places will merge them together. So as far as, yeah, so SW Math is also in R3 data. Um, so just wanted to say that. The other thing is that one of the goals of PsyCodes is to either create or contribute to or something. We'd like federated search across our respective domain registries. So I'm very interested in the one that you mentioned, Betty's whatever.
Betty's
But
research engine, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so that's very interesting to me. And if you're going to I'm interested to see what Fine Software comes up with, and I'll stop now. So Anna has something.
Thanks, Alice.
Thank you.
Is there any other
Anna.
Anna has
Anna,
raised her
yeah.
hand. Jag vill så tror
Yeah, thanks, Ronny. This is really interesting. I'm just wondering, what's your approach to the actual search? So finding software is the real challenge here. I mean, well, obviously federating all those different repositories and the registries is challenging, but the actual, when one of your personas, say, a PhD researcher wants to find software that does, I don't know, Monte Carlo simulation on a manifold for a particular purpose. Obviously, there is documentation and it's distributed over repos and all over. There is also the source code itself that you can, in principle, search. You can search through the literature that's associated with the software, but all of these are different pathways, and getting that aspect, that search aspect out there is really the most challenging part, because you cannot. I mean, despite all the great work with the metadata that this group is doing, there isn't uniform metadata for all of those softwares. So anyway, question, kind of open-ended. What's your approach?
I hope I got your question right. So you want to know what the general approach of Fine Software will be, and how we make software discoverable, let's say, right? Yeah. So like we are at the beginning of our project, and so we try to like, let's start with the data ingestion, the harvesting of the data. So first of all, when we prioritize our pathways, we try to take like all the solutions that are based on Wikibase as a first class citizen. So that's the low-hanging fruits for us. And I'm pretty sure that we will not be able to integrate all of those beautiful solutions within the realm of the 3 years project time. And yeah, and when it comes to the search, like the search functionality itself, I think that's where your question actually was aiming to at. So what we found out is that we think that what is missing in this whole landscape of searching for research software is actually to enable a researcher to search for functionality of the software, and to search for functionality from a scientific perspective. And that's what we try to enhance afterwards, to enhance the data with that this functional classification. So I mean, you can, like, just a simple example, for instance, because a lot of you guys know that, is GitHub. I mean, there's a lot of software. I mean, let's not talk only about research software. Let's talk about software. But when you want to search for software at GitHub, it's really a pain in the ass, because, like, I mean, you can maybe search for a programming language, and then you can. I mean, there's not that much actually that gives you like a functional classification, and like all these faceting options and so on, that would enable you to actually like filter out software, and not only by name but by actual functional categories. And that's not possible with GitHub. And yeah, so that's what we try to achieve, or what we try to enhance in the actual landscape, to enable a researcher to also have either the software or filtering options or faceting options based on the functional category of a software, or based on the scientific function that a specific software is contributing to. Yeah, I hope that answers your question in a way.
Well, I mean, that echoes my perception of the challenge. It
Yeah.
doesn't quite answer my question, but it sounds like you don't have the answer just yet, which is fine.
Yeah, and we know that this functional classification in terms of scientific and also like when it comes to like the technical function a software fulfills,
Yeah.
that we know that this is one of the challenging tasks because like
Yeah,
we
the
do not have
software
this information yet. Yeah, we have to
software
like
needs to
go to
be enriched with this information, and
yeah,
that
exactly.
with code matter and specifically with software function.
Yeah.
Hey, Harry,
Thanks,
I have
Anna.
the question as well in the room, if you don't mind switching. Yes, Harry, please.
Yeah, sorry, Maxence, if you want to go first, it's fine. I just wanted to say that this is one of the things uh, we're we're trying to tackle within Elixir with among other things biodot tools to try to describe in a somewhat rigorous way the scientific function of the different software which are in BioTools. We use the EDAM ontology.
Yeah.
It's I wouldn't say that from a user perspective, it's really like the ultimate silver bullet. There are challenges that need to be addressed, but at the very least, it's a way of modeling how things could be stored for software metadata.
Yeah, I think that's a very nice approach to I mean, like for you guys for BioTools, it makes perfectly sense to use the EDAM ontology for that. I think that when I'm rightly informed that that's ontology from the biology domain or the bioinformatics domain, right? Or is
Yes,
that's yeah, okay,
yes,
yeah, yeah, and these are the things that we need to integrate and to look for, yeah, or
yeah.
enrich this search functionality exactly, yeah. And I'm happy. Like, are you involved into Elixir? I mean, like this whole European landscape thing is like still some. I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm part of Elixir.
yeah. So maybe is it possible to contact you afterwards if we have like some questions about integration or cooperation or
Sure.
whatever?
Yeah,
Well,
no worries.
we will do that.
Yeah, feel free.
Cool. Thanks, Harry.
You're welcome. Maxence.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's that of a question. I mean, I think it's more I mean it's more a general comment on this because I think that I feel more than concerned since it's close from my PhD topic. Um, that I think there is a kind of extensive literature, somehow extensive literature on the topic of software reproducibility, software workflows, how to cite software. But there is kind of, in my opinion, there is a few work that try to conceptualize how we find the software, and I believe there is room for improvement for scholarly infrastructure to propose features and integrate features that can help users at browsing source code, at browsing software, at discovering software. It can be with search engine dedicated to code, or it can be with recommender system. That's definitely my topic. Recommender system for source code to compare different implementation of algorithm. And typically when I have to find a software, I never know which one. I mean, where to find it. Should I use Google? Should I use GitHub? But GitHub is never working so well. Should I use a repository package? But sometimes I want to go. Sometimes I want to have a look on every kind of language implementation. It can be Rust with Crate. It can be the Julia Hub for Julia. It can be PyPy Foundation. So there is nothing perfect in life, but there is definitely, to me, a lack of services that help at browsing and discovering in an extensive way many software of a discipline in an area. It can be astrophysics, it can be bioinformatics, it can be math, it can be all the material sciences. But definitely there is, to me, room for improvement to improve discovery in research software infrastructure. And I think having this kind of pathway help to conceptualize this. I mean, since we identify them, we can imagine a better way to discover software. So that's my little take of today. Yeah. And by the way, last word on this. I'm also working on how we leverage ontologies to discover software. So that's a secret work, if I can say. But no, that's not something that is yet public. So I hope one day I make it public. So on a publication for my PhD. So, but definitely, I think ontology can be. I mean, this kind of skill on the one, or backbone on the one we can rely to discover scientific software. So, so yes. And I think that code meta can be the key, definitely the key for an infrastructure like funded software. I hope funded software become an infrastructure, and code meta can be I mean, at the heart of it to connect every software from different sources and to ease the browsing system. So yes, that was my word. I don't know if there is any other question in the room. I'm done with this long monologue. I'm sorry. There is any other question
Yeah,
in the room.
thank you, Maxence. Thank you, Anna, for this link to the semantic farm. That's something that we will definitely have a look into it. Yeah,
Wonderful. Thank you. Please reach out if you have questions.
we will. Yeah, I will pass it on to my colleague who's into this software metadata part of our project. Yeah.
I don't know. I think if we're good with it, I can stop the record on this and give you about a bit of your time for today. Because I know in the US, or for some of you, the day is starting. So I thought that